So, like everyone else who subscribes to the Directive 8020 newsletter, and if you're not, sign up right away. It's the Directive 8020 newsletter. I awoke to some bad news this morning. Okay, should I have been awake before 9:40 a.m.? Maybe, but that's not important. What's important is Directive 8020 has been moved to basically a year from now, because they're saying the first half of 2026. And if they meant the first quarter, they probably would have said the first quarter. Of course, I'm sure this is all estimations at this point. We're not happy that we're going to have to wait another year to play this game instead of 3 months, which is what we were expecting. But it gets here when it gets here. And sadly, it's the nature of being a fan. We're not in charge of that. They were right on top of changing the release date on Steam as well. Now it just says 2026 and not like Q1, Q2, Q3, just 2026. No other updates, tragically. Just a wish list. We can't pre-order it. Now I'm going to offer 2 things that might count as bright spots. One of them definite, one of them it's a stretch, but this could happen. First one, it's not a big deal, but I will say I was not looking forward to rushing through Directive 8020 so I could be completely done it in time to play Little Nightmares 1 week later. Having 2 supermassive games out in 2 weeks was going to be a lot of pressure. It was bad enough when we had The Quarry and then Devil in Me just 5 months later. Like, we wanted time to luxuriate in our supermassive games, and this means we're going to have plenty of time to enjoy Little Nightmares 3 before we get to dive into Directive 8020. It's not a huge bright spot, but it is a positive. The second thing is, and this is a stretch, I know it's a stretch. If I'm being irresponsibly optimistic, feel free to call me on it. But here's something we do know about supermassive games, and that is they listen to the fans and they worry about what the fans say. Famously, at least part of the reason why the hallucination sequences and the reveal that Manchurian Gold is made out of vampire venom was cut from House of Ashes was the feeling in the studio that, yeah, they'd had 2 games in a row with hallucinations and fake monsters, and they didn't want any of the players to get super angry when Jason and Salim started having nightmare flashbacks. I'm sure the fact that they would have had to animate new models and build new sets made it an easier thing to cut from like a budgetary perspective, but fan response to Man of Medan and Little Hope definitely factored in. The reason I bring this up is the fans were pretty ticked off about the lack of curator in the game. The news that we were not going to have the curator doing the opening walk, hosting the game, cutting in to ask us if we want a hint or maybe to bring a character back to life if they wanted to use that mechanic that didn't actually make it into Devil in Me. I'm far from the only one who was distraught by that news. So, since there's every reason to believe that all of the curator sequences have already been shot, the motion capture performance, the voice line, like it's all just sitting there on their hard drive somewhere. It is possible that factoring into the 6-month break is re-editing the game to get the curator sequences back in. Now, is this a good idea from a marketing perspective? I certainly want to see the curator back, and hopefully you do as well, anyone watching this. And while it's true that new players hoping to find an outer space The Thing-themed horror game might be a little alienated when the game cuts away from the deaths of Sims and Carter to a guy walking down a hallway and then taking a book off a shelf and introducing the game to you, it's what the fans really want. And motivated, passionate fans can really help sell a game, and having a super pissed off fan base can hurt marketing. So, are we getting the curator back? I have no idea. I don't have any evidence about this. If someone wants to, ease our minds on the subject, I'm sure we'd be happy to get the news. But one thing's for sure. We know the curator sequences weren't going to be in the version of the game that we were going to get to play in October. This 6-month at least delay beyond October means that the possibility exists for a version of the game where he's back. So I'm going to choose to be positive, and hopefully you will as well. For now, though, I've been the Hidden Object Guru. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, you'd like to see more of those buttons coming up to help you with that. Questions, comments, your own commiserations about the delay of Directive 8020, go in the comments section below the video. Play my game, Clown in the Woods, while we wait. We'll see you back here for more 8020. But until then, I'll say that's right. Au revoir.